Hello, everyone. I decided to do a medieval get ready with me because I'm planning on going out and doing some training stuff with my sword and my dagger, just to kind of keep fresh and work out some things. Um, so, I'm gonna do a medieval get ready with me, and then we're gonna go out and we're gonna do that sword stuff. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy this. I'm gonna go over some of the things I have and what I'm putting on. So I'm starting out with already my linen shirt that has the gussets under the arm, and my short-legged braids that are about mid-thigh. Yes, these are black, and that probably wouldn't have been a color used, as linen was normally either the raw color, which is kind of a tawny tan color, or this bleached white color. But this is what I have, and you're not going to see it underneath the shirt, as you can see right here, unless I lift the shirt up and so I happen to look under it. So this is more or less the base layer, but I also have my girdle here, which goes around my waist, and I attach my hose onto. And this is a very simple kind of piece. It is just some cotton, cheap cotton that I had, and I was like, I need something to tie my hose. Got those backwards. Tie my hose onto myself, and yeah, it's just layered a few layers just to make it strong, and then it has hand sewn eyelets and some cords to tie the hose dangling off of it, and it's meant to take split hose because it also has buttons in the back to hold up those hose. And I get this relatively tight, and I try to set it about belly button level, and it just keeps the hose from falling off me. This has holes on it too. Probably can't see them. Kind of see them in there, but I don't really like those. They pull the hose off, and I've already torn the hose while wearing those on these. This works better because I have multiple point areas where I can adjust the hose to wherever I need it to fit in order to just be comfortable for me. Let's tie it on. Next, the hose. All right, so our base layer is all linen. This probably would have been made in linen in period, but base layer is basically all linen. The next layer on top of that is going to be all wool, or mostly wool. In America, wearing linen outer garments, as long as it's heavy enough, should be fine. But I like wearing wool because that's what was worn in period. So I got nice single-legged hose with a single pointing hole here. Sometimes these might have had two, some had one, and of course there are also different types of hose. This just is that single leg that points up to that belt, and it relatively works. There are also split hose, and then later on in period, like to the 15th century or late 14th century, early 15th century and onward, you'd have joined hose which would have a cod piece and would be more akin to pants that we'd wear today, but of course made out of wool. Hose are cut on the bias in order for them to stretch over the leg and fit. These are very old. I need to get a new pair. And the way where they would tie, I just pull this up, kind of tuck in my braids here, and this will tie just slightly here in the front, which is fine. Make sure everything's kind of adjusted right here. I just, oh no, it's caught. Oh no. Hold up. Wow, this is already going to be a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. Oh, did I get it? Come on. Sorry guys, I have seemingly messed this up a little bit. There we go. Pop those out. Boom. And because it doesn't have two, I can't put them both through the one hole and tie it. The knot, I've tried that before, and the knot always seems to want to slip out. I just want to make sure these fit all right. Get that taut up. Oop. And they are footed, as you can see. You probably couldn't tell there, but they're also like been pretty well worn. And then knock this off. Oop. Get that. I tie very simple, quick release knots on these because sometimes when you are done for the day and you want to get out of this, you don't want to have to deal with a granny knot. And that's one. Get that second one on. Bore you with the entire process of dressing here. Yeah, this one really has big hole in the heel. I'll probably patch it, but I do think I'm going to have to either make or buy a new pair of these. I will say a good portion of everything I'm wearing today was made by me. Minus a few bits here and there. The leather stuff definitely wasn't made by me. These hose were not. These were one of the first reenactment things I bought because I wanted good, period accurate hose to walk around in. I did make, oh my god, the knot. You know, I say quick release knot, but then they decide, there it goes. I did make a pair of braids for these, not this pair. I bought this pair at a merchant area. They only had black color left, so that's what I ended up getting. But I did make a pair of braids for this, and they weren't comfortable. They didn't fit right. But braids aren't hard to make. They're just medieval underwear. Just like two tubes, basically. Maybe a little more intricacy in there, but not much. And boom, now I've got my chassis on. You see that because the braids are a little short, they'll peek out from under the chassis if I raise my leg a little bit, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and put on my garter, just tying it right below the knee, just above the bulge of the calf. I could have probably angled this better so I wouldn't have to raise my leg up, but it is what it is. Garters in period were not worn to keep the hose from falling. You want your hose to be nice and form-fitting, but a garter would represent oftentimes a station, class of nobility. Maybe you belong to a specific order of knighthood. The Order of the Garter is one of those from period, and you would wear a garter. Typically, you'd wear a single garter and not two garters. And this is more of just for the kingdom in the SCA that I belong to, a patriotic garter. I don't think that was an actual thing in period, but it's just that little splash of kingdom colors that makes it nice. Next, now that we got basically our yield medieval pants on, I'm going to put on my yield medieval coat. This is a wool coat. This is the first coat I've ever made, first piece of garb I actually ever made. Hand sewed all the button holes and hand sewed all the buttons, even on the arms. The rest is machine sewn, but I've gone in and since and hand felled a lot of that. But yeah, used to be fully lined in a cotton shoulder. Used to be fully lined in a cotton flannel, which was a terrible idea because it made it so incredibly hot and was not fun to wear during the height of summer, as you could probably imagine. There's a lot of buttons on this thing. I can't remember. I want to say this one got about, I think I got up to like 80 buttons. I could be wrong. I know it's over 50. I'm not going to go through and count all these buttons for you right now either. So, you might be wondering why I'm wearing so many layers. Well, in the medieval period, and something that I still practice today, is your base layers absorb all your sweat. They get all the dirt off of your body, and they get relatively nasty quicker than your outer layers do. Certainly, your outer layers will get kind of dusty and dirty as you wear them, but they don't get as dirty as often. And what that means is they don't need to be cleaned as often. You still need to clean your outer layers, of course, but wool doesn't like washing machines, nor does it like water and then being heated, because then it will shrink. Um, Especially if it hasn't already been pre-shrunk. And that's the big problem. So what happens is you would wash your linen shirts, linen berets, more frequently than you would wash your wool and whatnot. And typically what I do is I'll spray these down with Odoban, especially if I get very sweaty and a lot of sweat goes through. And any dirt or anything, I'd go in and hand wash using a brush and a little bit of wool safe soap. But I don't have to do that often, because thankfully the underlayers keep these outer garments pretty well. Just pulling through my shirt cuffs. I like to have my shirt cuffs kind of poking out underneath. That way people can see that I'm wearing more than a layer. And as you can see, there's all those buttons in the arm. All these buttons running down the front in my chest. And you can see the fit's pretty close to fitting. I have enough room, spanned out my belly, sucking in, to move. And as you can see, when I raise my hands up, I don't get a lot of movement in here. That's because the arm is cut pretty darn close, or the circle is cut closer to the moving joint of my shoulder instead of down. A lot of modern suits will have a lower cut, so when you lift up your arm, you'll end up lifting up your jacket or shirt. All right, one of the other things is the belt. I have my belt, my pouch, and of course my training dagger. I'm going to relace it. So this belt is very long, and in period, belts probably weren't this long. I've seen maybe a few examples of them being this long. This belt end drapes down to my knees, which wouldn't have been very common. And it's not as adorned as a lot of belts would have been, because you either would have had very, very highly adorned belts, or your belt would have been just plain leather belt. And the belt's pretty self-explanatory. Just wraps around. Boom. And the belt kind of is supposed to ride slightly lower than what you would normally get, or what a modern belt would. So my jean waist is probably about there, and this rides just slightly lower on my hips. Make sure everything's pulled, tucked, and yeah, it's good. I'm going to have natural wrinkling, because it's going to wrinkle. I see a lot of people try to get rid of the wrinkling in their garb, and I'm like, your body, as your body moves and rests, your garb's going to wrinkle. Your garb's going to shift on you, and I'll see that, and then I'll adjust it, try to pull out some of those wrinkles. But wrinkles are a natural thing. And then finally, because I'm not going to bore you with putting on my shoes, my hood. This little thing on here is kind of a reenactnism. You don't really see little badges or trinkets like this on hoods very often. Typically, these would, I believe, be worn on... I've seen these a lot on women's dresses, but I haven't really seen a lot of evidence for them to be on hoods. aside from maybe the occasional manuscript image. But like if we're talking about averages, they weren't worn that often. The great thing about this is like I can wear it like a chaperon, like so, but that's not what I'm going to do today. I'm going to wear it like a regular hood. And this is a very tight-fitting hood, and I have a very large noggin. Unroll that, and then I come and pop, whoop, and I'm out. Kind of hard to adjust the hood, especially in the back, because I can feel it right up, just slightly, which is fine. Boom. And I normally wear this hood down unless I get cold. I really should like wear it up, especially since I'm not very covered on my scalp by hair, so my top of my head sunburns pretty easily, but either way, it's fine. And then, because I have a long tail and I don't want this thing flapping around everywhere, I'm going to take it and just tuck it into the belt. That way it can just ride in peace. And yeah, this is my basic garb, so to speak. And I pretty well like it. It's kind of not a very high class station. It's very much more of a merchanting class, I would say. I feel like you'd see a lot of people who would live in towns and cities wear this type of stuff, where this would be that specific look. I got my pouch, my dagger. Chick sits kind of cockeye there. A lot of people like to wear them in the front, but I have no real issue with sitting and having this there. But yeah, and that's basically it. All done up nice and pretty in the mid to late 14th century look. Very much not a commoner's garb, but very much a stylization of garb that would be common. I already have been recording this for 17 minutes, so I won't bore you anymore. This is what I got. I put a good amount of research and effort into making this, and I hope it also shows like not everything has to be handmade by the individual. You can hand make certain things, which is a great experience to learn because it also helps you repair the things that you end up buying. And part of like stylizing garb isn't just like making a tunic and then wearing that tunic. It is the things that go along with that tunic. So like this hood, I have that little badge here. This cohorty, I have my bag, my knife, my belt, and it's just trying to create something. It's like I also like don't button the last two buttons on the cohorty, because it just like it helps stylize it. It makes it feel much more lived in, much more real, much more tangible. But yeah, this is it. I might do another one of these videos with some of my other pieces. I'll probably also do a get ready with me arming edition, which will take a lot longer than the 18 minutes that I've been doing this. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions about anything I'm wearing or anything like that, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you very much.